Hi, this is a response to a video made by @SS on Twitter. He's responding to Vusi Thembekwayo's rant on how politicians are fucking us over. And I just want to address one thing he brought up. He said, what can we do going forward? So now, if you watch the whole, if you watch his whole video series, he mentions a whole bunch of things. One of them is about foreign. I'm actually born in Zimbabwe, but just hear me out. So my idea is this: we don't have to wait for elections to make our voices heard, nor do we need to sign petitions and do marches and all those things that have never worked in the past. There's one very simple thing that we can do. We can use our money, our collective rands, to vote. We can control the economy by what we do with our rands. Here's an example. Let's say we decide that the banks are a problem. The banks are not giving people loans and so forth. What we can do, and we can do this today, is if you have savings in Standard Bank, FNB, ABSA, Capitec, any of the big banks, take those savings out. If it's a 32-day, give them the notice and say you're taking the savings out. Take all of the savings out, put them into a small bank like GBS Mutual Bank or Finbond. I think those are the only two mutual banks left. Why mutual banks? Because one, they're small, so we can control them if there's a lot of us. And if we're all saying the same thing, that's number one. Number two, mutual banks, just by virtue of being a depositor, you become a shareholder, you can vote, you can actually change the policy of the bank. So what we do is say, okay, we're taking our money out of the big banks, we're putting it into Finbond or GBS Mutual or whatever bank we decide we're putting into. When we do that, everybody puts on the reference the name of the cause that we're fighting for. And we say, look, here's our condition. It's very simple. With this money, you will give us a decent rate, and you will give loans to people in small communities, small loans, 20,000 to 50,000 rand, 20,000 to 100,000 rand. So people can start their businesses, people can renovate their houses, people can build an extra room and put someone in there, because nobody's giving those loans. And they'll talk about the rules and when it comes to African bank lending money to people unscrupulously, they don't have a problem. So they're going to have to make a plan. We've got the money, we're talking, they'll have to listen. And trust me, banks will listen to people with the money. The problem is that right now we think that the people with a lot of money are the only ones who can talk. If we bring all our monies together and we say we're taking all our monies, all our savings out of Standard Bank, out of all the big banks, and we're putting them into this small bank, but it's coming with a condition that you must provide loans for small businesses. Small loans, 20 to 50,000 at a decent interest rate that's not going to kill them. And also you must give us a decent return on our investment. And then they'll bring up all sorts of things, but at the end of the day, if they know that this is the condition, and if every deposit slip has that reference, they will do what we say. And on the other side, we say to the other banks, you want us to come bank with you again? Cool, no problem. Just make sure you do 1, 2, 3 things. We decide what it is that's important for the economy. Giving small loans to small businesses, giving small loans to Omama who want to stock their stock fellas, who want to build rooms, whatever it is they want to do. No one's giving them loans. They'll have to make a plan. We're not the smarty pantsers. They'll work it out how they do that, but that's what we want. That's the only way you get our money. And if you don't, within a certain time frame, we move our money to the next bank until somebody listens. I'm telling you, if literally just 1 million of us took out 1,000 rand, that's 1 billion rand. To a small bank, that is a lot of money. A big bank might not feel it, but if it's all coming to a small bank, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. If you don't have savings, which is most of us, you can still change your salary to go to that bank. It's very inconvenient because they don't have ATMs, and then you'll have extra charges. If you're willing to pay that price, great. If you're not, maybe put your salary there, but also have a debit order that goes back to your bank for the small portion that you need to use day to day. The rest stays in there. Your debit orders come off there. They have that cash. They can do something with it. And again, the condition is the same. Do these things. And then we can control what the banks do. That's the important thing. All this thing, voting and protesting and all that, it doesn't change anything at all. If you've noticed, the people with the money, the people who can control where the money goes, control what happens. We have money too. It's not a lot, but there are a lot of us. There are way more of us than there are of them. So that's number one. Number two, do the same thing with retailers. If we take something like SPAR, I know SPAR supports local producers for vegetables. If we say to all of them, Pick and Pay, ShopRite, Woolworths, all of them, we're saying we're not buying vegetables from you until you start supporting local farmers. But we're all going to buy our vegetables either from street vendors or from SPAR. And to SPAR, again, we get the same condition. We know you're supporting local, we need you to up that. Make a plan, make it happen, assist people, help people who are trying to start gardens, go find the people who have started gardens, help them to expand. Whatever it is you need to do, this is what our money is saying, and you must do it. Otherwise, we go to the next guy. By the third time we change, everything will have changed by then. So that's what we can do with retail, and then we can expand that to other areas of retail, even fast food, whatever the case. But that's the general idea, is that if we all say, look, we're all under this cause, buying from you or not buying from you until such and such a condition is met, they can't ignore that if a lot of us do it. Obviously, not everyone's going to be on board, that's fine. But if enough of us do it, I promise you things will change. And these are not new ideas. I didn't make this up. This is, partly inspired by Killer Mike mostly, but there's a lot of evidence that this kind of action works. So that's the first step, economy. So the banks, the retailers, and so forth. And then we go to the politicians. I don't know exactly how this representative voting works, where you can vote for a person, but we can now say, assuming that it'll work like that, we can now say, we want you to stand for mayor, but in order to get our votes, these are the policies that you will have to support. Otherwise, we're going to the next guy. We do exactly what the big money people do, just we need a more coordination because our money is in 100,000 different households, whereas in their case, it's in 2 or 3 bank accounts. But that's fine. Money is money at the end of the day. So we say to the mayor, whether supporting his campaign or voting for him, we'll only do that if you agree to these conditions. And then from there, we'll choose the candidate that can agree to those conditions, and we can hold them to account. And we can even expand it with the SPA example to say, look, with restaurants, maybe we can say, look, when Spur or Steers or whoever it is, you don't hire locals. So until you hire locals, we're not going to be buying from you. It's a very simple concept, but it's very effective. And I think that's my contribution to the discussion. I think that's what we can do. And all we need to do is to organize that, just to coordinate, to say these are our demands, and these are the people that we'll target. These are the businesses that we'll target. And before you know it, everything will change. No